Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision softly creeping left its scenes while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs and voices never shared. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words and I might teach you. Take my arms and I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they lay. And the sign flashed out his warning, and the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls, in tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
That's right. A quick moment of silence here.
For what? I don't understand.
Well, it's just a little bit of respect for the Bucks. Joining the Bears in Cancun. But we're definitely going to get to that. Nice to see that Ian decided to join the chat today. Ian, absolutely, you're not coming on the show to troll. As you notice, I completely ignored that. But Jeffrey, how are we doing today? Little technical issues today. Wasn't Justice thought you had a little poop problem. I told him that was definitely not it.
No, definitely not it. No, I had a nice base for some avocado toast on a whole wheat and little fresh egg, and but then I came upstairs to turn on the PC and get this thing flicked on, and lo and behold, something. This is a shared computer that I bought for my son. But you could probably see I have, about 10 keyboards around here right now, because for some reason none of them are working on this PC. I'm not sure what he has done. I'm not sure what happened, but it took me 30 minutes to try to figure out how to log in off of a virtual keyboard and then also get into this space that we're in now to be able to talk. So, just vibes are really high right now. We're very excited to be here. My good friend Ian Zeese in the chat, who I got a chance to watch the football game with on Sunday, just out here talking shit. It's great. It's a pleasure to be here. Really, truly.
Well, it's definitely a pleasure.
What's going on? It's good to see you, man. Good to see you too.
Definitely a pleasure to have you in here. And obviously we would wait to the ends of time for the possibility for you just to be on this show. So we really appreciate the trials and tribulations that happened this morning and your commitment to the fans of the Uninformed Fan channel. And yes, Marcus, it's nice to have you back. I thought maybe it was a little bit of, fantasy football snub, maybe, the feelings were too fresh. But it's good to have you back. It's good to have you back. Well, let's get into it. Are we ready?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, listen, it's good to see Buff back. Good to have Justice back. Thank you so much. Ian can go fuck yourself. Really, really good to see you today as well, too.
Well, let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's get the elephant out of the room before we get into anything else. The Bucks and Commanders. I understand that it was quite a spectacle Sunday night at the local watering hole. Words were said, feelings got hurt, and of course, Ian was an ass. That's just a given. I don't even know that for a fact. I just got the tip of the iceberg. But maybe Jeff, you'd like to walk us through the events of Sunday night and the Bucks Commanders game.
Well, first and foremost, I think we should start with All Day Sunday, which was a great day for family. Went to a nice little birthday party. Started dabbling in some espresso martinis early, cracked open some bourbon. Ian brought over a bottle of Vouv to said birthday party as well, too, that we ended up polishing off, which was great in celebration.
Whose birthday?
It was Briella. TJ's youngest had her birthday party. So beautiful petting zoo. I mean, the whole nine. It's really, they do it very well over there. As always, expect nothing less. And so, yeah, I did that and watched the game. Things got a little bit fuzzy there at the very end after the doink, if I remember correctly, which I don't. And then, yeah, I proceeded to go home. I said some things in some group chats that I probably shouldn't have, but it's just the amount of disrespect that I've heard from Commanders fans when they have won nothing in 20 years. And all of a sudden they finally win a playoff game and they want to be on their high horse and all high and mighty and tell us Buck fans to go fuck ourselves when we've been a way better organization in the past 25 to 30 years since they've been alive. It's just really mind-boggling to me, but we don't really expect less from the scumbags up there in DC. They're not far from Philly. And so, yeah,
I was about to say, has DC fans now trumped Philly as the worst fans ever?
Yeah, maybe your time is done. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like, my time is done where? Because I'm going to bring back the entire offense and my quarterback and the entire O-line. I'm going to add pieces to the defense, and we're going to keep it fucking moving. Like, what are you even going on about? Like, congratulations, okay? You won a playoff game, which historically is an anomaly. The fact that the Bucks had the highest success rate in the history of the NFL in a playoff game and a loss at 67.5% is an anomaly. The fact that your rookie quarterback didn't turn the ball over or take a sack one time the entire game is an anomaly. The fact that, you didn't really do all that much. You got lucky on a fumble at the very end of the game was an anomaly. But listen, congratulations. Good for you guys. I hope you guys go on to do very well in the playoffs. We'll be rooting for you because Bucks fans have class, something that Washington fans have not shown whatsoever. But good luck. Listen, I've never been a Lions believer this entire year. I think you guys got a puncher's chance. So good luck. I hope you. You can say it, Ian. You can say it. We're on Twitter. No. So if you really want to go out and say it, you'd be more than happy to say it.
I do not want to get canceled off YouTube with our 50 subscribers. Okay.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's going to be a huge hit to us immediately. So,
well,
like I said, congratulations. I've said this to multiple people. Congratulations. Yada, yada, yada. Like, you guys won the game. You kept us off the field. You had the ball for almost an entire quarter more than us. It was a great strategy, a great game plan. You can call it a soft way of playing football, but at the end of the day, it was a successful way of playing football. So congratulations to you.
Well, there definitely is a lot to talk about here in the Washington success. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Bucs side of the football real quick. And it just seemed like the Bucs just couldn't get anything going whatsoever. They couldn't get any, like you just mentioned, couldn't get any pressure on Jaden Daniels. He had all day back there to throw the football. Scary Terry doing scary Terry things. Mike Evans was doing Mike Evans things, but I just think that once the game
got cooked all night. That was crazy.
He did get cooked, which was very, very good. I love to see that, regardless, of what happened. So, obviously, as Jeff said, congratulations to the Commanders. We are going to talk a little bit about them moving on, and the matchups that they're going to have coming up. When I look at the Bucs team, right, and we look about what's going to happen next year. We've talked about Todd Bowles being on the hot seat. Does this boot Todd Bowles out of Tampa with this loss?
No, I think if anything, what it's going to do is make sure that they keep everything together and run it back again one more year. I think if you look at, I don't think this did any favors for Liam Cohen. Now, Baker's 15 of 18, a 147.5 quarterback rating. I mean, incredible, right? Baker wasn't the problem. He also rushed really well.
That one rush that he had that he ran over like two people, that was awesome.
Like, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. The game didn't play out the way that we wanted to. Baker was cooked. Okay. Man, the ineptitude and the mental ineptitude of sometimes of people in football just really boggles my mind.
I have to put him in timeout here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's whatever. Listen, they're just going to run it back. I think this is a good chance for Liam Cohen to now come back and be the OC again for one more year. Obviously, he was rumored for a few different head coaching opportunities. Hopefully, this will kind of squall those a little bit because the Bucs offense was incredible this year. If Todd can just get some more pieces on that defense and kind of get them aligned, I think we'll be a force to reckon with next year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a heartbreaking loss for Jeffrey and his Bucs on that game. Like I said, I not having Chris Godwin, I think it was a bigger issue than originally thought. Not that, like you said, Baker and the Bucs. I mean, they did well. Mike Evans did well, but when it came down to it, they're just Bucky Irving, man. What a bright spot, huh? For Bucky.
Yeah, he's going to be great. I mean, listen, if you look at what the Bucs have drafted in last year's draft, I think every single round 1 through 7 was somehow a contributor. I'll take that. Like, not bad.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I mean, I don't think anybody expected the Bucs to even get this far to begin with. But so, I mean, I think you have to just think of it as a successful season as well and continue to move on. Now, on the other side of the ball, the Washington Commanders, I mean, again, Jaden Daniels looks like the real deal. He just looks so calm under pressure. He's making the throws. He's not making the mistakes. He's putting the laser in where it needs to be. I tell you, especially after watching the Eagles-Packers game, I think the Washington Commanders have a shot here. Now, let me just double check this.
Well, we know that Detroit's defense is not the best, right? And I don't know how they're going to stop. I mean, I guess the exact same formula, right? Like Goff could still go 15 of 18, a couple 100 yards, couple tutties, play well. They run the ball well, but Washington just finds a way to win the clock management game, get one turnover, and that's kind of the game. So yeah, I mean, maybe, big maybe.
Yeah,
but that's going to be a very different environment than Tampa was. For that team, I'll tell you that. And that's one thing I've said a lot too is, obviously the Bucs don't have the best home field advantage in the world. You've been to games where, it seems like the other team is outnumbered Bucs fans. And so this is just another instance of, Washington being able to be there. And
I mean,
there's no hostile environment, it's not like you're going into Philly or whatever.
It was tough to obviously hear everything. And I don't even know if I had it on the I did have it on the main screen for a while. Did you hear a lot of Commanders fans?
I saw quite a few walking into the game. I did hear them on television as well too. Not as loud as what it was for Dallas or it's been for Philly or even Chicago. When we went to the Chicago game, there was a ton of Chicago fans. So not in that sense. But
definitely wasn't as bad as the Dallas game. And, that was just a travesty, in my opinion. Obviously, Tom Brady didn't play a good game anyway, but to send him off in his last final game ever and have a crowd that was over 50% on the playoffs is pretty fucked up, in my opinion. Right. But yeah, so you know what? It is what it is. We're on to the rest of the season. We'll see how everything else plays out with that. The Chargers going to Texans, and obviously I had picked it. Well, we both had picked the Bucs over the Commanders. We both lost that one. I also had the Chargers over the Texans, and I watched Justin Herbert go out there and absolutely shit the holy macaroons. 4 interceptions, the most in his career. I believe he had 3 or 4 all season long.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was playoff nerves. I mean, my goodness. I mean, if anybody predicted that, please let me know in the comments, because if you saw that comment, I have a couple questions for you, and I would like the winning lottery numbers. But CJ Stroud, the Houston Texans, look great. Will Anderson Jr. was getting pressure all day long. Maybe that's what was causing him to throw the ball. But at the end of the day, we have Lad McConkey as your number one, or your go-to. Quentin Johnson does Quentin Johnson things.
Yep, got the drop.
Just too much. I mean, Herbert had to play a perfect game in this game to win, which I honestly thought he would. I thought he would rise to the challenge. He absolutely shrunk in the quicksand. The Texans take it, and they are moving on to face the Chiefs.
I thought maybe 2 of them were bad throws. I thought 2 of them were just unfortunate plays that happen in the NFL. Balls off receivers' hands, balls that, a receiver was supposed to maybe take a step back on a route, takes a step forward, and all of a sudden it looks like a high ball. I thought that it was more nuanced than him just playing absolutely terrible. But I did have the Texans winning this game going in, if you remember. So I did think that this was an opportunity. I just think the Texas defense is slept on a little bit with their front, Danielle Hunter. You mentioned Anderson. You have what's his name? Al Qaeda in the middle linebacker. Al Shazir is his name. That guy. And then on the back end,
when you got the Taliban in your secondary, things are looking pretty good.
You have Stingley, who was incredible coming out of LSU, was one of the number 1 prospects coming out of high school, and was incredible in college at LSU as well too. Derek Stingley III. So I do like their pieces. I also think a lot of the times we've seen from the Texans, they haven't played a meaningful game in a month leading into this. They had the division locked up. There was no real reason for them to go out there and put it on the line in a competitive way. We saw what they did here. And unfortunately, now they draw the Kansas City Chiefs, and that will be a very, very tall task for them to be able to climb. But listen, we mentioned Nico Collins props and taking the overs there. Obviously, the Nico Collins prop hits, which is really nice. So I think we were just like a J.K. Dobbins touchdown away from having a really, really good day there. But yeah, better days ahead for the Chargers, right? Like Harbaugh.
They weren't even supposed to be anywhere near this.
Did something with nothing this year, brought that team around. The defense is going to continue to be great. They'll continue to add on the lines, and then they'll continue to add pieces around Herbert. I think they'll be absolutely fine. You continue on with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, and even the other kid they had too, Spiller. I forget the other kid's name that they had was Haskins, maybe the third running back they had who popped a little bit as well a few times this year. So bigger and better things ahead for the Chargers.
Absolutely. And one of the things, obviously, I wouldn't want to see this because I have other needs, but could you imagine T. Higgins?
Yeah.
T. Higgins as a number 1. I mean, you get Justin Herbert at number 1. That offensive line is pretty good. You got a good running backs. The defense is okay. I mean, obviously, as you said, a couple pieces need to be secured up, but you get a real true number 1 receiver on that team. I mean, my goodness. I mean, we'll see what happens. Like you said, Jim Harbaugh wasn't even supposed to be here. They had a losing record last year. It's one of the best turnarounds from year over year between any head coach, which is once again why I look at the Bears as a shamble of an organization that didn't even want to talk to him. Yeah. Kevin
I will say this. I don't get if the Bengals are to want to break up what they have right now. Like I would just.
It comes to money, and I will say, well, there's only so much to go around.
Is there,
you got Jamar?
Yeah, deferred year. Look at the Dodgers, bro. The Dodgers just.
Unfortunately, there's no salary cap in baseball, and that's the issue.
There's ways around it. The Bucks did that for years with Tom Brady and Gronk and guys.
Tom Brady also wasn't making Yeah, but Tom Brady wasn't making $60 million a year.
Yeah, I could see I could see Burrow restructuring. Listen, T is
I
like
will say T has came out and said that he wants to keep the band together and he will take
yeah,
less money. However,
they're all
Jamar
like
Chase
best
has
friends.
not said
So
that.
no,
Jamar Chase has not said that. So
but I
Jamar
also
Chase wants
feel like
$1 more than this guy. Dude, he's such a...
let him go.
Oh my
Just
god,
be like
dude.
Elsa. It's fine.
Hey, thank you
Yeah.
for getting engagements on a different platform. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, he'll eventually get sick and get over it and
It's
move
like a
on. So
child screaming, right? Eventually they just stop,
whatever.
right? They get it all out.
Sometimes I did try to put my son down the other day, and this man cried for an hour straight before finally going to sleep. I was like, man, look, you got heart. You got a lot of heart, kid. Good to see. Yeah, no, but listen, I would if I'm Burrow, I know Burrow and T are best friends, and I know Jamar is part of that as well too. And I would just try to keep that together as long as I possibly could. Also, I feel like the Chargers are going to want to spend capital elsewhere other than skill positions. Just knowing Harbaugh, I feel like he's just going to try to build lines, build trenches, build defense, and then maybe through the draft try to get some guys in. So, but we'll see. I love it.
Well, definitely. See, I think definitely if you're Chargers fans, you got to be thinking that I mean, this is just another stepping stone. I am concerned about Herbert's performance. I really am. To watch how good and surgical he was with the ball all year long. And Jeremy, I don't know if you could bring this up or look it up. I think he had 3 interceptions all year long, and you throw 4 in a playoff game. That is
low.
a little. It was super low. It was super low. He did. I'm just gonna bring it up. I got time.
Let me see if I can try to find it. Yeah, he throws 4 picks in that one game.
He threw 3 interceptions all year long. Unbelievable. 3 interceptions all year long. And yeah.
Yeah, only 23 touchdowns. It's kind of surprising too.
Well, not really into Jim Harbaugh offense. That it's always run the ball. Ian, you have a blessed day as well, my friend. I hope the Lord blesses you with many, many more blessings on this beautiful, glorious Wednesday.
What's a bender?
I don't know. I think bender's like, going out and having a good time on drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, but he says, have a great day, you
it's an F word. It's like a
bender.
wanker. I'm assuming maybe he's
but why say you effing benders if it's the same thing? Anyway, not a big deal.
There's really no, you can't. I mean, you really want to dissect the mind of Ian Z's?
Yeah, I do. I think it should be studied.
You just said the F word.
Just literally said it. It's hilarious. Ian, congratulations. I'm rooting for the Commanders on Saturday night.
Oh, okay? That F word.
Oh, okay. Oh. Your other favorite F word. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know. Does that get you banned? I don't know.
I don't know.
Let her rip. I don't give a shit. Whatever.
I know it gets you banned on Call of Duty.
If you say it or type it in a chat, but
no, if you say it.
I don't know.
It's the weirdest thing. You can say any kind of racial slurs, but you say Anyway.
Gotta have protection. Speaking of studying brains, yesterday I was outside and I was moving some stuff around. Yeah. And I went to get a thing of water. And I had my my little butler nook or whatever. I redid it, put some cabinets in, and they took out the trim. It was like, I don't know, like countertopping, like around the bottom of it. Big piece. And I'm leaning down, all of a sudden, dude, it fell and just smacked me right on top of the head. I was definitely concussed. I'm still concussed. That's right. Butler nook, baby.
By the way, so everybody's talking about, different shows. Have you started Landman yet or no?
Not yet. We just finished up. Well, we didn't finish up. We got almost through Outlander. We are caught up now. My wife likes Outlander, and the last season was really, really, really bad.
Isn't that about like the people over in Ireland and like the
Stones,
Scotland?
The Stones from Scotland. It's actually it's interesting in the fact that it's time travel shit, right?
The Campbells and the McDonald's, right?
The Mackenzies, and I don't know, but they're right now they're like in the American Revolutionary War. So like he's like a general with George Washington as they're like doing all this stuff. It was actually that part was actually interesting, and it's definitely something that I'm sure most history buffs are probably really really into it because it does definitely follow like how the America was made anyway. But anyway, yeah. And then we finished up Lioness last night, and then we are going to be moving on to Landman this evening. So I'm looking very forward. Haven't started any of it, so we got some things built up. But yeah, definitely in concussion protocol, Marcus. Keep an eye on me. Steelers Ravens. This game went about exactly as I predicted. The Steelers just didn't have a chance. I mean, I'm sorry. That team overachieved all year long. Russ, when he came back in, I think he ended up 6-6. He had some bright spots. He played really well there for a few weeks, and then we saw Russ. Okay, take away the deep ball. What can Russ do? That team, I don't know. I don't feel like they had the running potential to even compete. The Ravens are just too deep. I said that, the difference this year with Lamar is that he has Derrick Henry, and that was on full display as Derrick Henry just ran all over the Steelers. Lamar didn't have to do too much, and he did what he was needed. No Flowers. Again, I mean, one of his easy go-tos. I think that he has Lamar Jackson just has like a lot of sneaky weapons, right? When I say sneaky, obviously we know about Mark Andrews, but outside of Mark Andrews, is Zay Flowers a real number one? Probably not. I mean, is Rashad Bateman a real number one? Probably not. They're all complimentary, but then you have Isaiah Likely, right? That has also caught some huge balls. He had a great catch, I think, on the sideline. Just great stuff. I think there's just a lot of weapons for him, Lamar. Then, of course, you have to spy on Lamar because he has his legs as well. I just think that Ravens team is built too good. But before we talk about the Ravens moving on, we got to talk about the Steelers. We got to talk about Mike Tomlin. And the reports are already coming out. Mike Tomlin told everybody, if you're trying to trade for me, forget about it. I'm not going anywhere. There's going to be a lot of organizational changes here. We've been 18 years now in Pittsburgh, and the fans are calling for a change. And I mean, as the owners, I mean, and of course, there's a lot of people out there say, why would you even think about moving on from Mike Tomlin? Well, I think he's 0-6 in playoffs in his last 6 appearances, and he's just not getting it done. And regardless of whatever team is on there, I'm assuming that he has some control in who's brought in, who's not. You have no quarterback going into next season whatsoever. You have no drafting quarterback. You have nobody sitting waiting in the wings. You had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields both on a 1-year deal. In my opinion, Justin Fields gave Pittsburgh a better chance just because of his legs. Now you take away a little bit of the deep ball with Justin Fields, but a lot more of the middle opens up. With Russ, it was just literally deep ball or bust, in my opinion. Again, my humble opinion. But what do you think's next for Tomlin, Russ, Fields? Do they bring any of these quarterbacks back? I mean, it appears that ownership has already told Tomlin you're good, which means.
Well, it's tough to argue with success. And listen, we can say varying levels of success, but when you're above 500 pretty much every single year and you make the playoffs every year, it's tough to really argue that, right? Especially in the NFL and how much of a parity league it is and how competitive it is. For the Steelers, I do think that Tomlin should go in and really kind of reevaluate this, though, because they have struggled at the quarterback position, and it's been the point of emphasis. Obviously, it's the most important position since Big Ben, and there's nothing that's going to be in this draft class that's going to change that for you. And so if you think that you're going to get immediate improvement by drafting a quarterback, or even like, where do you go? You go to Sam Darnold in the offseason? I just there's a lot of you go to Kirk Cousins in the offseason. There's too many questions where if I'm Mike Tomlin, I tell management, I'm coming back. I'm committed to Pittsburgh. You're going to be committed to me. I'm not going to go to a different team. You're not going to trade me to a different team as a head coach. But I want a guarantee of at least 2 to 3 years, because I want the ability to have next year, know that we're not going to be that great with another fill-in quarterback and another BS thing going on, and then have the ability to attack the draft the very next year when it is going to be a quarterback-laden draft. So that would be my rallying cry going in. What the Steelers will do with that, I guess, has yet to be seen. I understand Steelers fans being very frustrated, but it's tough when you've always been relevant. It's tough to have the world's smallest violin playing "My Heart Bleeds for You."
So it looks to me he signed through 2027. He just signed a 3-year extension this year in 2024. So I mean he's in. And he also has a no trade clause. which is weird for me that a coach puts that in there, especially this day. What has there been, like one or two coaches ever traded in the history of the NFL for him to have it in there?
Will be very
Yeah.
interesting though, because the way the Ravens attack, will Buffalo be able to mitigate that and turn Lamar into what we always see Lamar break down being, which is a pocket passer? And it'll be very interesting to see the way that plays out this weekend.
I think it will. So moving on to that game, as far as actually for the Steelers go, obviously, like you said, he's already said that there's going to be a lot of changes. I think this also, as you said with Liam Cohen, I think this also bucks Arthur Smith out of any head coaching gigs, which I think that should have been out there. I was surprised when Arthur Smith went over there, to be perfectly honest with you, just the lack of success that the Atlanta had on the offensive side. Like
with all the weapons.
Yeah, with way more weapons. And as far as Kirk Cousins go, I mean, I think that's an intriguing thing, but I think that the rest of the league is ready to go. That we're not going to pay $30 million for a guy that, as you said, is a statue.
Correct.
He just had, and again, if he didn't have success in Atlanta with Drake London, Bijan Robinson, I keep saying Kyle Pitts, but I don't even know if that guy's relevant anymore to be.
You could say Darnell Mooney. You can say Ray McLeod had one of his best years ever. You have Tyler Algier and you have Bijan Robinson in the backfield. I mean,
if he can't get it done with that, why are you going to bring him in with George Pickens, who? I don't know if you saw some of the comments and some of the stuff that George Pickens had, but obviously he's shitting all over them. Right? I mean, so. I don't think. I think it's a toxic situation for anybody that tries to come in there. To be perfectly honest with you,
if it's one thing that they specialize in, it is that kind of receiver. In Pittsburgh, I mean, if you look at,
did you see Deontay Johnson already
got cut because they're celebrating with cigars in the locker room, and he's going off on somebody about playing time.
I mean, what an idiot, dude. Like, I mean, I'm not going to go on a huge tangent about this, but like, you got to surround yourself with better people, bro. Like, you just got cut from 3 teams. You are an NFL player. You get to live the dream that most people will never even touch. You were a number 1 receiver in Carolina, and you talked your way out of that. Regardless of what you want to say, they got better after you left.
Yes.
Then you go to the Super Bowl contending Baltimore Ravens and get yourself cut from there. And then you're blessed enough to go to another playoff team. And you've already got, like, my God, dude, I don't want to hear anything about people getting X amount of chances or anything like that, because that man, and guess what? Somebody will probably pick him up in the offseason again because he's that talented, bro. Surround yourself with better people. Somebody's got to be in a year. Do you have a mother? Do you have a father? Do you have a brother, uncle? Somebody says, Deontay, sit your ass down and let's have a heart to heart. You are about to fuck yourself out of the league. Like, what are you doing?
You know what'll end up happening is there'll be a story and some piece about how he's given his life over to Christ, or he's separated himself from the people that were swaying his decisions before, or he's somehow a changed man and a changed person, and then somebody will take a chance on him and he'll be cut before week 6. So
where he'll end up going? The Bears.
Nah, you guys got too much in your room already.
We got too much shit. I don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback position though in Pittsburgh. Obviously, I'd like to see Justin. I'd like to see Justin Fields get a shot, but I was thinking about this last night. I just don't see where it's going to be. When you look at the teams that don't have quarterbacks and whatever this draft is coming up, you have Shedeur Sanders, who's come out and said that he's not going to Cleveland or the New York Jets. Either one of those, Dion has blocked that. So then you have Cam Ward coming out as well, which obviously will probably be the number 1 pick. I don't see where he's going to go, honestly. I think he's probably just going to be a backup, but I don't even know where he'd go for that. And also Kyle Trask. I think his contract is up this year.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
It's up this year. We'll see what happens there if he gets signed back to the Bucs again. I think that it would behoove the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to re-sign him. He's
proven himself.
Yeah, I think so. I would love to see him get a shot, but I mean, he looks awfully comfortable there, so we'll see what happens. Broncos Bills. This was another one that Broncos just shit the bed here. They were playing so good, so tough. I don't think that the Bills did anything defensively to be like, oh my God, like this Bills defense is so good. I just think that the Broncos fell flat on their face. That first drive, right? Bo Nix hits that deep touchdown. Everybody's like, oh shit. And then they never scored again.
No.
That was in the first 5 minutes of the game, and they never scored again. Then they did the fake punt, right? And then I'm like, oh boy. And then oh my God, dude. I honestly 31-7 Broncos. I mean, obviously Josh Allen showed up, but he didn't have to do much. I don't know. I don't really. This wasn't a game that I'm like, oh my God, the Bills are actual Super Bowl contenders. This was a game that I thought the Denver Broncos just got completely exposed. That's all. And I was wrong again. Obviously, on this one, this was a flyer pick. It wasn't something that I'm putting my money on.
Listen, they get more than doubled up in time of possession. They get more than doubled up in terms of total yards. It was pretty emphatic, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Josh Allen would have had 4 more rushing yards. We would have been happy. But
it's a little proud. So the Baltimore Ravens headed to Buffalo, Sunday night game. Of course, the best game of the week, and my wife has dinner plans to celebrate her birthday. We're celebrating her birthday this coming Sunday when it was on the 10th. Not ideal for me, but we're gonna push through. Best game, obviously, of the entire week. Again,
maybe the entire year.
Yeah, probably. But whatever. I'm just gonna
until next week, at least. I mean, we know that next week's both.
I'll watch it.
Incredible.
I'll watch it on Monday or Monday whenever I get back or whatever. But again, so Ravens headed into Buffalo. Obviously I have the Ravens winning it all. I don't think that they're going to be stopped this year. I think Derrick Henry proves too much, but the Buffalo Bills are definitely going to give them a run around and a go ahead. I definitely think that 51.5. That's a lot of numbers. That is a lot of numbers. Just give me. I mean, you might as well just. There's no point taking -1 if you're going to take whoever. Just take the money line either way.
I'll probably be on Buffalo here. Just because I think that Buffalo has better weapons and they're a better team. Right now, I will say coaching wise,
who's the better weapons on Buffalo? Amari Cooper over the receivers for the Ravens.
I would take Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, all over Rashad Bateman.
Okay.
I think Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox
are better than Andrews.
Slight tick down.
Okay.
But I do think that the stable of running backs with James Cook, as well as Ty Johnson and Ray Davis, I like a little bit better than Keaton Mitchell and Derrick Henry.
Really? Well, I mean, Keaton Mitchell's a non-factor pretty much. I mean, he kind of comes in every.
Justice Hill. I mean, I understand Justice Hill's there, but he's not really a runner. He's more of
it's all Derrick Henry
out of the backfield, and so I mean, this just comes down to the Buffalo stopping Derrick Henry, in my opinion. And if they can stop Derrick Henry, they'll be fine. If they can't stop Derrick Henry, then it's going to be a really close game.
I think if they do try to stop Derrick Henry, which obviously should be the focal point, obviously then I think Lamar Jackson is going to have a huge rushing day, as well as I think if Zay Flowers plays, he will have a day. And that's just because he'll be running from side to side all around the field. And it won't be one of those. I think Rashad Bateman will have one of those, down the field that we've seen throughout the season. But I think it's going to be one of those dink and dunk type things where a lot of yards after the catch for the Ravens. I don't think that they really are going to need to do a whole lot. But yeah, I think Shakir is going to be a problem for the Ravens secondary. I do see that being a problem with his speedster. I don't think that Amari Cooper is going to be too big. But you never know. I mean, just do a little over 2. We'll see what happens over there. But I definitely love the Ravens here. Like I said.
Can I tell you what else is funny about this as well, too? Is that literally Josh Allen's #1 weapon this year was somebody I didn't even mention in Matt Collins. And he is the gunner on the punt team. Also, the person who led them in receptions and yards this past Sunday, Curtis Samuel, another guy I didn't even mention. So when I say I just think that they're able to spread it out a lot, that's my opinion. I just think they're able to spread it out. I think they're able to get it to a lot of different guys, and they have playmakers. They can just get the ball in their hands and let them kind of go and make something happen. So,
and honestly, that's literally the exact thing I said about the Ravens. You said you got Bateman, you got Flowers, you got Andrews, you got likely Derrick Henry. I like I said, I think it's probably one of the most evenly matched, which is why this is a spread that's won and everything else is a touchdown or more.
Of course.
Or pretty damn close to it.
Listen, I'll the caveat, I do think Lamar is the MVP.
I think he gets cock blocked.
But
I mean, just looking at straight numbers, I mean, he is. There's no doubt about it. But I think he gets caught blocked. He's already won 2. And as we like to say, it isn't so much of who's the best. It's kind of like a good feel me award. And I think that he'll get it over there.
Who would you rather have? Who would you rather have? Real quick, ball in their hands, game-winning drive. 30 seconds left. You got 1 timeout. You got to get in range to kick a field goal.
Patrick Mahomes.
Between Lamar and between Josh.
Neither one of them, to be perfectly honest with you.
I'd rather have Josh.
Well, I'm just saying, has either one of them done it?
I've seen Josh do it.
In a playoff game?
Not in a playoff game, but he hasn't had to do it in a playoff game.
He hasn't gotten that far.
Well, I mean, he honestly, he did do it against Mahomes. He just did happen to leave 13 seconds on the clock and get cut the other way. So, I mean, there is that as well, too.
That's a great question.
Because
I think it's literally
that, right. Like,
I think it's literally a toss up right now for me. If you would have said last year, I would have given you Josh Allen. I would have said Josh Allen, and that's just because Lamar has kind of shrunk a little bit in these big moments, right? Last year's playoffs, he struggled a lot. I think this year's just completely different. I think he's just got a newfound confidence about him. But like you said, if you threw Patrick Mahomes in there, I wouldn't be talking about either one of them.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I'd probably put Caleb Williams in there as well, because I've seen pretty good stuff about him too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Is that time to move on now?
Yeah. Time to move on.
Packers Eagles. I mean, this was just a shit game, man. I mean, it was 10-22, but it felt like 2-1. I don't know, man. I think the Packers just got completely exposed. I don't want to hear any excuses about Jordan Love's hand. No Christian Watson. The Green Bay Packers, when they play great teams, have gotten the shit kicked out of them all year long. They won 1 game in the division. That was against the Chicago Bears. They should have lost that. They should have lost every single divisional game in the NFC North. But if and buts or what's, all that kind of stuff. I think that they got absolutely exposed. I think that the Packers fans calling for Matt LaFleur to be fired are absolute idiots. Just shows you what happens when you give somebody a little bit of knowledge. It was just a shit game. And I'll tell you what I saw from the Eagles. I mean, the Rams have a real shot, because I didn't see anything from that Eagles team that tells me this is a team ready for a Super Bowl run.
Well, can we be honest?
And again, I guess they didn't have to do anything.
Philly probably has one of the best, if not the best, defense in the NFL still left right now. Correct?
I would say so, yeah.
Without a doubt, now that Denver's out. So best defense, they rely on the run game. They try to mitigate turnovers and not turn the ball over. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Same thing the Washington Commanders did. So I don't think they had to do anything. Jordan Love was hurt. Christian Watson was hurt. Dontavius Wicks got hurt.
Give me a break. Okay. Did you see his spirals not being perfect spirals?
Nobody's saying that.
Well, if he's hurt and if it's his throwing hand, then there should be an alteration of the throw. I mean, his balls were still.
I don't know about his balls.
His balls were still coming out perfect.
Deeper insight on his balls.
He was just missing the throws.
No,
man.
I just think they were a little bit banged up toward the end of the year. They'll try to figure that out. I guess next year. I'm not really sure. I think it's one of the most frustrating things is when you get into the playoffs and you know that you have a fully healthy team, pretty much, just like the Bucs did, and then to lose in the manner of losing, it's really crushing and heartbreaking. So, listen,
Green Bay will take its rightful place next year as the bottom feeder of the NFC North.
When has Green Bay ever been the bottom feeder of the NFC North?
It's still their rightful place, and they will return.
Green Bay will be fine next year. They're the youngest team in the NFL. They'll be absolutely fine. But this is just a mismatch. Philly came out, kicked their ass. I would expect Philly to take care of business against LA as well, too. I know you say they have a puncher's chance, and you like McVay. I can understand all that as well. But my problem will be Matthew Stafford outdoors in Philly, in the cold, in that environment, with the ability for Philly to be able to blitz him and also single cover guys because they have some of the best DBs in the entire NFL. Give me Philly all day in that game, and Philly moving on into the NFC Championship.
We shall see. I will say this, moving on to the Vikings-Rams game, I did see the LA and Sam I almost said Sam Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I just think that the Rams looked really, really, really sharp. Matt Stafford looked really sharp. Puka and Cup did their things. I didn't even watch the end of this game. And then, of course, on the other side, Sam Darnold, the Cinderella season's over, bro. To your point, I don't think anybody, you talked about him possibly going over to the Steelers. I don't see that either. I think it was the exact same scenario. And when you have Kirk Cousins that came from that and had an awesome record-setting year, right? And then you plug Sam Darnold in there, and he has an awesome record-setting year as well. That, to me, looks just like a plug-and-play. So anything that he accomplished this year, anything, to me, it just goes right out the window with one of these performances. He put up 9 points, and that Rams defense is good. Jared Verse obviously is picking up a little bit where Aaron Darnold left. He's not the same, but I mean, you still have Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson back there. You have the weapons. There's no way that you should be able to put up 9 points. I think this also knocks out, in my opinion, Flores as far as the head coach consideration when you give up 27 points to the Rams.
Flores got schooled by McVay the entire first half. It wasn't even very close. You mentioned Jared Verse, fastest speed for a defensive lineman all year this year on that return. He looked absolutely electric and incredible. And yeah, it's the Florida State boys getting it done. Braden Fisk up front, Jared Verse up front. Their secondary starting to play a little bit better. Really liked what I saw from LA. When it comes to Minnesota, you're exactly right. It'll be JJ McCarthy time. Sam Darnold is now done. He'll move on somewhere. He's probably a great backup. Just like I heard somebody compare him to Andy Dalton. I thought that was perfect. It's like, Andy Dalton is great in like a 1-2, maybe 3-game stretch. But if you get the starting ball in Andy Dalton's hands, you know that it's going to be a nightmare for the team. So listen, I completely agree. They got to move off Darnold. The way that Kevin O'Connell talked, they are moving off of Darnold. It seemed like he talked about everything with Sam in the past tense. So writing is on the wall there as well, too. JJ McCarthy time. We'll see what happens, but I do think they should probably get a decent backup in Minnesota as well, just to have somebody there to mitigate and to help JJ along in a live season as well, too.
Maybe that's where Justin Fields goes. Who knows? I would love to see that. Could you see Justin Fields with Justin Jefferson? I mean,
well, listen, O'Connell's one of the best coaches in the NFL for sure. We said this. Darnold has regressed back to seeing ghosts. He's seeing pressure when pressure. It's what do we call it? It's not. It's fake pressure, right? It's pressure that you're looking down at the rush. You're not feeling the pocket. You're not moving well, and that's why you're feeling that pressure, not because it's actually right there in your face. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we wrap up with the NFL, Cowboys are moving on from Mike McCarthy after they denied the Bears interview. Apparently, Jerry Jones has already reached out to Deion Sanders, and that conversation has started. To me, I can't see it. I literally can't. I can see it on a few different things, and I could be completely wrong here. I'm not in the locker rooms. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that Deion Sanders' methodology, the way that he presents himself, the way that he tries to build his organization, do you think that transfers to grown men?
I don't know.
Right? It's tough to think about, right? I mean,
Gene
obviously
Fitzmagic, thanks for the comment. Appreciate you joining us. Listen, I will say this about Deion. I don't know if Jerry is at a point, and I know Jerry wants to win, but I don't know. I think Jerry might be looking around and saying, I'm kind of screwed with these contracts right now. I made some bad decisions, right? I can't get off of Dak Prescott. CeeDee Lamb's not going anywhere. I got to figure out what's going on with Micah Parsons. Obviously, we have to revamp both lines as well, too. I think he might be looking at it and saying, if I look around the division, right? Okay, the Giants are still going to suck, but Philly is going to be Philly. They're going to be really, really good. And now you have a monster out there in Jaden Daniels with Washington. Do I try to go for box office hit instead of going for culture changer or whatever it is? Do I take 2 to 3 years and grow the brand of the Cowboys and have them on prime time every single time? Listen, this whole thing about them trading Dak Prescott to the Titans and all this, there's no I don't think either of that's ever happening, because I don't think the Titans would want. Who wants Dak coming off of that injury, right? We don't even know how Dak's going to be able to move around.
Who wants Dak on that contract?
And on that contract. So I think that Jerry's kind of stuck, and I think this would be a big box office swing where, listen, the Cowboys get eyeballs already, but now you add Deion Sanders into the equation.
Yeah, but on the same token, I mean, I don't know if they get their revenue share based on eyeballs, because I think the NFL league contract is just out there, right? So like they do it all in one swoop, and I don't think that there's
Valuation of the business, though, right?
I don't know. I mean, unless he's going to sell it, which I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't think, and Marcus, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure Dallas still sells out every single game. So
Right.
I do get the hype thing behind it. Absolutely. And I think it would create another buzz in Dallas, and that would be have all the talking heads talking about it and keep them in the conversation. And I think that is why Jerry does a lot of the things that he does, and like why he hasn't signed that? Why is it? Because they keeps the conversation on the Dallas Cowboys. As far as brand building goes, he's great. As a GM, not so much.
Well,
He fired Jimmy Johnson after winning Super Bowls. Like, okay,
you can borrow money against what your
I don't
assumed
think he
worth
needs
is, right?
yeah, you can, but I don't think he needs it. It's not like what.
But do you think? Okay, so you don't?
I
think
just
that
can't see
you
Deion
don't
Sanders'
think
message.
it would bring any value to the brand as a Cowboys?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I would create controversy and get them talking, which would again, elevate.
Nobody's talking about the Cowboys right now. You know what I mean? Like they're like nobody's going like First Take. Is
well, they
not
are right
meeting
now.
with-
Yeah,
now
they
they
are
are because there's an opportunity and different and hope in a different direction.
and they were
whatever,
and they
so on
were
so
when
forth.
they denied McCarthy to talk to the Bears. That's all they talked about that for 2 to 3 days.
It's funny. I was listening to Colin Cowherd and he had Michael Irvin on yesterday, and Mike was said something to the effect of, I can't wait to be back in prime time next year in Dallas. And I didn't know if that was
Who said that?
Michael Irvin, who had just talked with Dion earlier in the day, text with him. And he said, it looks like we'll be back in prime time in Dallas next year. And so I don't know if that was a fraudulent slip or if that was something of him hoping that Dion gets the job, or maybe it's already being negotiated.
Well,
But I never saw Boulder as
point,
that place for Dion to stay forever.
Well, to your point, like I said, there's a difference when you're talking to kids, right? And like, I'm Deion Sanders, like, yada yada. Come, I'm going to develop you. I'm going to get you NFL ready. There's a big difference when you're talking to CD Lamb and being like, this, that, and the other. I don't know if that translates. I don't know if the respect is there. But I think this would check a few boxes. I don't know when the last time Dallas has had a black head coach. That checks that box. And you can say whatever you want about it. There's boxes to be checked when it comes down to this. The Rudy rule's already been thrown out numerous times in regards to what happened with the New England Patriots and minority head coaches. I think that also, you put him in there. Now Dallas has a minority head coach. And when's the last time that Dallas, or if they ever had a minority head coach? Don't know that. I think that checks some boxes. I think that also is just like, to your point, it just creates a buzz. But my question again is, I just don't know how grown professional men would adhere to his message. That's all. And I'm not saying he has a bad message at all. I just don't know. I just don't know enough about it, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, when he gets up there, he talks the talk and does all this when he's talking about, the kids, right? And, do your thing, walk your walk, talk your talk. I mean, that's one thing to do it on 18 to 19. I just don't know. That's all. I would love to hear from some NFL players to let me know if that works. Maybe I'll go knock on my neighbor's door and see what he thinks, Desmond Clark, and see what he thinks about that. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If we've known anything, it's just that, the Cowboys will figure a way to stay in the news. I thought Robert Saleh went to San Francisco already as the DC.
I guess you can always be open to new opportunities in life.
That's interesting. So we had a little bit, I guess so. That's going to wrap us up with a little bit of NFL talk here. Moving on to NCAA. Notre Dame versus Penn State. Now, this was a good game. Obviously, I was rooting for Penn State just because I hate Notre Dame. Penn State did show up. They played pretty well. They ended up losing on the last second field goal. What?
You know that we have Notre Dame future tickets.
When have I ever not said that I hate Notre Dame? I can't just change. I mean, okay. So like this. So I was obviously rooting for Penn State to win because I hate Notre Dame. Notre Dame won. Look, now I have a pleasant surprise. My friends won money. See,
But we haven't won anything yet because they're still offering us like the most BS cash out ever known to man. I'm letting it ride.
I mean,
not cash out.
Yeah, a couple units, let it ride. And then Ohio State obviously takes care of Texas, who didn't really look. So we have the national championship is set. Notre Dame, Ohio State. Who you got, Jeffrey?
Notre Dame,
Don't
of course.
don't just tell me Notre Dame because you think that. I mean,
realistically,
realistically,
I think that Notre Dame is just being completely overlooked. I think there is a script there where Notre Dame can follow what Michigan did, in a sense, and be able to slow Ohio State down. I don't think Ohio State looked electric at all against the Texas defense that just gave up points to Arizona State. Now, there's no such thing as comparing exactly apples to apples when it comes to these things, because everything is nuanced and scheme and fit and everything like that. But I do think that if you're giving Marcus Freeman some time to scheme this up, and especially not only Marcus Freeman, but Al Golden, one of the best defensive coordinators in the entire country, to be able to slow down Will Howard and Jeremiah Smith. Listen, that Texas game was a great game as well, too. Obviously, we'll get to that. The Notre Dame game, to me, I turned to Jeremy as soon as Notre Dame gave the ball back to Penn State and Penn State got the ball, and I go, we're due for a turnover. We haven't had one all game. And sure enough, Aller steps back to pass and throws a pick the very next play. It's ironic to me as well, too, that they're saying
spoken into existence.
If Aller was to come out right now in the draft, that he'd be the third quarterback taking. That's alarming to me in terms of this quarterback draft and the way that it's going to set up. So yeah.
Well, now you got Quinn Ewers headed to the draft too.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think Quinn is, anyway.
Yeah. We're different.
This speaks more to why Quinn Ewers would come out into the draft this year as opposed to wait till next year, when he was supposedly being offered upwards of $5 million by Michigan State to come play quarterback for 1 year for them.
And how about the Georgia quarterback getting like $9 million from Miami? Like, what?
He didn't get $9 million.
What was the report?
4. He got 4.
Are you sure? Jeremy, what was that?
Absolutely positive. He's the highest paid NIL player in the history of NIL.
Yeah, I mean,
for one contract, $4 million.
And what did Miami see that's like, this is our guy?
What did Miami see? I mean, they saw a quarterback who started for Georgia multiple years, who took them to national championships, who had a down year this year, but a guy who also will now be with his girlfriend, one of the Cavender twins, who plays for the University of Miami. So,
Jeffrey always with the social population
psychological details. There are psychological things that I feel like resonate in here that are actually maybe factors that play into it. And
I definitely think it's the right move for him. And Quinn Ewers is saying, well, if you're going to get paid $4 or $5 million or whatever, why would you go? I mean, get that money, set yourself up. Because again, if you do go, like to your point, I don't know. It depends, I guess, on how bad the quarterback situation is in the NFL when you decide to go next year or the year after that. I don't see him being a first round pick, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, it's the best Make-A-Wish. So yeah, I will say this: Notre Dame impressed me, and Marcus Freeman impressed me. I will say that. When the Bears had talked about Marcus Freeman possibly interviewed for the head coach, I was like, oh great, here we go. And then I listened to a few of his interviews and stuff, and yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like he knows what the hell he's doing, and he's got a good head on his shoulder. So, I mean, as far as coaching standpoints go, I mean, give you the advantage over there. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. This is why I don't bet on college, though.
I'm unfortunately going under the knife on Friday, and so I'm going to be out of commission for about 3 days. But it will be nice to be able to just sit back and be able to watch football. Right, 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday, and then I'm also off on Monday. I got the national championship Monday night to be able to relax and just take it all in at home. So
honestly, this is why I don't leave the house half the time, bro.
I might need to text you for some
some what? Acid?
Some gummies.
Oh, I thought you said acid. A little trippy.
Definitely not acid.
Ohio State 28, Texas 14. Again, to your point, Texas definitely had troubles. Ohio State had troubles with the Texas defense. To your point, what you said previously, Ohio State didn't look like the dominant team that we saw the week before. I think that maybe that freshness has kind of cooled off a little bit.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a great game. I think that we get the matchup that we deserve at the end of it all, throughout all of the bullshit, the 12 teams, this, that, and the other, the SEC having a down year. I agree. I think that this is the game that we want to see, and I think Notre Dame definitely has all of the tools to do it. We'll see. We'll see how fired up Ryan Day has that Ohio State team, because I'll tell you what, after that Michigan game, and I said it before, they should have been sending thank you cards, Christmas, whatever, gift cards to Michigan because they fired that team up. I didn't see that same fire going into this game. We'll see what happens going into the national championship on Monday.
I'm looking forward to it. Jeremy, are you off? You're going to be off? You're going to be off watching the game, or you got to work? No, you got to work. No, should be good. Like I said, I can't wait to be propped up, feet up, ice cold,
melted into the couch. It's beautiful,
and melted into the couch. So, should be a nice few days for me.
It is absolutely beautiful. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Anything else going on? I don't know if you saw it. And first, let me always say our condolences to everybody in California with all of the wildfires going on. I mean, just crazy, man. That's absolutely nuts.
And listen, I don't care how much money you have in your bank account. Everybody deserves empathy in life, and sympathy for a situation going. You don't know what somebody's lost. You don't know what somebody's actual financial situation is. You assume that you know, and then you make comments on social media about who deserves empathy and who doesn't. They all deserve empathy. It's an incredibly sad
I know that
situation.
some of the celebrities have gotten, flack for starting GoFundMe's for their parents' accounts or whatever. But, I was looking at this the other day because one of the neighborhoods in Palisades that was completely wiped out. You look at the average homes, they were all $5 million. And, a lot of people say, well, they had $5 million home. Well, you don't know when they bought that home. These homes could be, in generational, right? Where they bought this house for $200,000 just because it's worth $500 now. I mean, our case in point, I bought my home 4 years ago. It doubled in value. So it's not as clear cut as it seems in politics aside. It's just a terrible situation. And, hopefully everybody can try.
And I bought mine, a year and a half ago. And I can tell you, I bought it for over $500,000. And I can tell you this, I don't have $500,000. So,
Yeah. And I don't know if you also saw Carrie Underwood under attack
for singing the inauguration.
Sing at the inauguration. I mean, what are we doing here, United States of America? And again, the party of tolerance showing their lovely tolerance ahead. Who cares? She's singing "God Bless America" or something. And regardless, again, if you're political, when Joe Biden was in there, I didn't root for him to fail. Why would I want him to fail? That just means my life's going to get worse. You guys are idiots. Doesn't matter who's in the president's office. If you want to call them out on bullshit, call them out on bullshit. But you still want them to succeed. Get your head out of your ass, people. And if they do something wrong, then use your platform to say it. My goodness. And then a couple other things happened. Did you see Elon Musk is being sued by the SEC?
No, I did not.
Yep. Being sued by the SEC for apparently not disclosing some shares that he already owned when he bought Twitter. I mean, it's just one of those things. You start going after the government, right? And you start, threatening government jobs and government spending. This was not a surprise to me by any means.
No, it can't be a surprise to him either. So
no. And last but not least, your girl, Caitlin Clark, in the news.
What'd Katie do?
She didn't do anything. But
her stalker
has quite the stalker that was leaving some pretty vulgarious notes and words and this, that, and the other. Get a life, people.
They brought him into court and he goes, "I'm guilty," and just sat down. No trial needed.
I guess
no trial needed. Just give me a picture of Katie Clark and put me in my cell, sir, please.
Yeah, I can never imagine being that infatuated with somebody. I mean, my
crazy.
Goodness. I don't know. Anything else to wrap us up with today, Jeffrey?
Suckers every day. No, I mean, listen, it's sad because obviously football season is coming to an end. And with each game that happens, we know that, that's it. And listen, as people who love college football, 3 more weeks. We're on our last leg of college football on Monday. It's the last time we'll talk about a game coming up for college football. As a Florida State fan, you want to wash away the stink as much as you can from last season. And you have a great portal class and you're like, all right, well, let's see what happens in the spring game. Well, they just announced yesterday they're not doing a spring game at FSU because they're finishing the renovations on Doak Campbell Stadium. So now the stench doesn't get wiped off until the end of August. And I do understand what they're saying is that they don't want to take 3 days away from practices when you're implementing a brand new defense and, doing different things on offense as well, too. And so I understand that, but it does suck because even when Doak Campbell was getting renovated before, we had a spring game here at Camping World and it was sold out. So I don't
Maybe
know.
they're just trying to keep the wool, or they don't want to expose what they're trying to do going into the next
Maybe.
year.
Just interesting times right now. But listen, like I said, it's bittersweet. It's exciting because the games are happening, but it's also sad because we know that football is winding down and coming to an end. You talked about, you said you like Baltimore this week. Is that correct? Just as a quick recap.
They're my Super Bowl champs.
So Baltimore over Buffalo, and then you have Kansas City over Houston, correct?
Yeah.
And then so Baltimore beating Kansas City, and so on and so forth. And then obviously Detroit, Washington, you have.
I like Detroit, but I'll tell you, 9.5 for the Commanders to me seems too much. I think they backdoor cover that.
Definitely be on the 9.5.
I do like the Rams plus 6.
I do like the over too, but the problem that I have with the over, because I do think both secondaries are terrible in terms of the Commanders and the Lions. But the problem that I have is that they played that just control the clock game. And do they do that again? Is that the same strategy that they come out with?
56 points is a lot.
They don't want to get into a shootout. You know, there's like so many factors that go into this, and that's a lot. And so
we figure 28 points a piece, right? 28 points a piece. That is a touchdown every quarter.
Yeah. Well, what they're saying too is with a 9.5 point spread, if you're taking the Lions, right, then you're saying it's, going to look more like
might be better for the Commanders.
38 to 20, or like, I mean, what's the where's the rub there where that happens? So very interesting. And then this Eagles and Rams game.
I like the Rams here plus 6. Definitely. I think that they still have a punter's chance, as Jeffrey likes to say, at the game, but I would take the Rams plus 6 there.
All right.
Absolutely. So looking
on, people are performing at the inauguration. Just, I mean, the amount of inclusion in the party is incredible.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Jeremy, any notes or stats that you got for us?
Nothing today. I will say that the game in Philly on Sunday is the only game above freezing. It's supposed to be 16 in Buffalo and 21 in Kansas City. So cold weather.
Detroit, it's going to be warm and sunny.
74.
Do you remember last year
74
when they asked the Bucs about how they were going to mitigate the cold going into Detroit?
Well, I do believe they play in a dome, so yeah, it won't affect us.
I was thinking about this the other day as the Bears were talking about their new stadium, and I don't know. There's something like the Bills are building a new stadium. They're still outside, and then I was looking at the SoFi. Yeah,
I thought their new one's going to be a dome.
I
don't think so. No, it's literally right next to it.
It's going to be a dome.
Will the new Bills stadium have a roof? The stadium slated to have the world's largest heated roof, the canopy roof. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's going to have a snow melt system. So, yes, a dome.
Did you know that Google tells you that octopus is a shellfish? Look it up.
But this also says the canopy covers 64% of the seats. So, is it like because I was going to say SoFi, right? SoFi is technically not a dome, but it's covered because they have that like structure that just goes over the top of it, but it's not sealed.
So I think that's the same thing that Buffalo's getting, because as you watched a few weeks ago when the fog was rolling in on a Thursday night game, it was coming into the stadium.
But it's going to be heated.
Yeah.
The roof is going to be heated so it melts the snow.
So it's just
the stadium itself will not be heated. It'll be in the elements, but the snow will melt.
So you're just going to have water dripping on you?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, I'm sure that they're going to have a runoff system.
I'm sure Jerry Jones wouldn't set it up to where the Dallas Cowboys are driving into the sun and kicking into the sun at afternoon games, but
no, actually it's open air, man. So basically what they have is they have the top structure that just pans out. So I'm looking at a picture. Actually, you know what? I can just put it right here. I forgot I have this technology.
Shout out to StreamYard for being the host for all of our podcast ventures over here.
This is why is it not showing? Oh, because it popped up a different one. Share screen. X. Boom. There it is. So see how it's got the canopy over the top to cover, like, yeah. So 64. So the only people that are going to get snowed on are the ones with the expensive seats. That makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Sick.
But yeah, it was more like Chicago, right? Like, there's something about the elements. I understand that the players probably don't like it, or maybe some of them do. But even if you did something in Chicago, like, are you building a dome just because you want to host a Super Bowl? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the whole logistics behind it. But there's something about maybe, like I was saying, like SoFi Stadium that it's all covered, but it's just like on pillars above it, so it's still freezing cold. You still get the cold elements, but you don't get the weather element. But I mean, this right here,
in LA right now.
I'm sorry, what?
Was it cold in LA ever though?
No, not really.
I don't think so.
But I mean, it's definitely cold in Buffalo. They're not closing it in. I
Wait,
don't know.
So
I feel
even
like
for concerts, it's like open air.
Yeah. I mean, the whole stadium is covered. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. So you see how it's like, why is it? Come on, man. Which one's the SoFi thing right here? Wikipedia. So you see how it's like built over it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still all open air, still the regular. And of course, to your point, yes, it doesn't get as cold there. But I don't know. I just feel like if we move to the I mean, I guess are all the stadiums now moving forward going to be domes? I don't know. Do we lose a little bit of nostalgia? I don't know. No, you just don't want to see any more elements whatsoever in football.
Yeah, I'm good.
Cousin Clay is the same way. I disagree a little bit. I think there's some to your home field advantage in Pittsburgh when you got Tampa Bay or Miami. You know, when Miami went up to Green Bay, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
I like domes. I'm not gonna lie.
Get in with the comment.
He likes big domes and he cannot lie. Is that what he just said?
He likes the domes, that's for sure. Shout out to Cousin Clay.
I mean, personally, for me, I would have
everything. Cousin Clay is also going to work today when it was 1 degree. So I mean,
for sure,
he might have a little bit more saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, okay, so think about it from a perspective of like kicking a field goal at the end of the game, right? And you just so happen to have to be blowing into 40-mile-an-hour winds to end the game, and you can't kick a field goal to move on to go to a Super Bowl or whatever it is.
But the other team faces the same adversity.
But because of a coin toss, they won what side of the field they would be playing on because of a coin toss.
Home field advantage.
We can talk about a coin toss for playoffs. I mean, and winning games. How many times did the Bucks lose a game?
Yeah, but at least you get a chance to match. At least you get a chance to match on the coin
in
toss.
the playoffs.
Jeffrey,
I still have my own opinion.
What happened in the Notre Dame game? What did we call it? The breath of God.
Yeah, the breath of God. It
something
blew
like that
blew the kick. Yeah, but
I don't know. I get both points.
And,
and as Cousin Clay has said numerous times, you get best performance when the conditions are at their peak, right? I mean, nobody wants to see a game that's 3 foot of snow, you can't see, and they're literally just slopping around the field. It takes away your number one receivers, things of that nature. Now it's just all a running game. I get that point, but to me, there's something about the nostalgia of that game and how the game came up and how everybody else dealt with it. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of torn.
I think nostalgia is for old people.
I'm old.
I'm getting there.
You're almost there, Jeffrey.
Okay.
What are you, like 35?
I'm 39, Tyson.
Oh, nice. My wife just went into her midlife crisis.
Who said I'm going through a midlife crisis?
Well, you will be. Trust me. You won't. Girls get a little bit sooner than men. Just wait. Just wait.
What am I going to do?
I don't know, Jeff. Everyone's different. That's the beauty of the midlife crisis. Everyone's different.
I hope you guys have a great week. Pray for my balls.
Yeah, I hope everybody has a great week. Jeffrey's going another night to get his vasectomy done, as well he should. 3 kids is definitely enough in this day and age. So shout out to you and your procurement of your 3 children to start with. I hope everything goes swimmingly for you under the snip snips.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
I think there was a pun intended.
It's weird. So I guess supposedly back in the day, they used to just go in, they'd numb you, you'd be awake, they'd snip you moved on.
It's an outpatient procedure, isn't it?
I'm going under.
Pussy.
That's because he's got that.
Ian was right.
He's got that good insurance. That's why they're putting him under.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, were they putting you up afterwards when you are recovering?
I'm going to the Ritz for a few days after to be pampered.
Yeah,
I'm not really going to the insurance. Ritz. I'm coming home.
I was going to say there's no insurance that's putting somebody up with the Ritz. He's got that Marriott money. Yeah. Well, Jeffrey, I hope everything goes good for you and you get to sit home and watch your games. Let me know if you need some melodynamics. And Jeremy, I hope you have a great weekend as well. And for all of you out there, I hope that you also have a great weekend. Enjoy this last few weeks of football. And if you do happen to be driving, for the love of God, please, please, please stay out of the left-hand lane.
Be great.